Well, it's happening. Israel is now on the offensive, saying that it is seizing extensive territory in Gaza. And the IDF are pounding South Gaza right now. Let me read to you the story, because this is obviously a game-changing moment where the course of history that said Israel's going to shrink, that the Palestinian cause and what they tried to do on October 7th was to invade all of Israel and destroy it. They are finding out now. Defense Minister Israel Katz announced Wednesday that Israel is expanding operations in Gaza, that of course is today, following extensive overnight strikes in the southern part of the enclave. Troops will move to clear areas of terrorists and infrastructure and capture extensive territory that will be added to the State of Israel's security areas, Katz said in a statement. The IDF deployed another division to the southern Gaza Strip early in the day as part of the expansion of the offensive against Hamas. Palestinian media reported a large wave of strikes in Rafah and Khan Yunis the night prior, and later said troops were advancing in Rafah. According to the reports, the bombings killed 21 people as of Wednesday morning. Troops' entry into southern Gaza follows an IDF announcement a month ago that its 36th Division had been sent to the Southern Command to prepare for operations in the Strip. The expanded ground operation came a couple of days after the IDF issued an evacuation warning for the entire Rafah area and a large swathe of land between Rafah and Khan Yunis, where the IDF had previously not operated with ground troops. It was the most significant evacuation order issued by the IDF since the offensive against Hamas resumed earlier this month. In his statement, Katz said the Gazans should act now to overthrow Hamas and return all the hostages. And Israel has started intense bombing of Gaza on March the 18th and then launched a new ground offensive, ending a nearly 2-month ceasefire in the war with Hamas. And according to the terms of the January 19th ceasefire deal, the sides were to launch negotiations over the second phase a few weeks ago into the first, but Netanyahu refused to do so, insisting the war would not end until Hamas's governing and military capabilities had been demolished, which is utterly and obviously right and sane. Now, I want to talk a bit about Israel going back into Gaza and why it matters so much, and why it's so important. This is an article produced fairly recently by Jerusalem Post, where they interviewed a man we had on JTV several years ago. Exceptional man, a Nobel Prize winning laureate, the one of the founders of game theory, Professor Israel Oman, Robert Oman. He won the Nobel Prize for his work on conflict cooperation through game theory. He is saying that Israel needs to establish military presence in Gaza once again. Why? Well, this is what he said in short. He said, Israel must reoccupy the Gaza Strip and consider rebuilding Jewish communities in the coastal terror enclave if the country wants to prevent another October 7th. He said matter-of-factly. Conversing over cups of slow-brewed, fresh-filtered coffee, the 93-year-old Nobel Prize winner is confident that not only must Israel actually remove Hamas from Gaza, but learn from the mistake of withdrawing in the first place. The event that led to the current situation was the disengagement, Oman says, of Israel's 2005 unilateral withdrawal from Gaza that uprooted 9,000 Jews from their homes, many of whom were once again uprooted after the Hamas massacre. Let's draw conclusions from that, he said. It would be wrong to make a repeated mistake. Certainly we should not do that in the West Bank / Judea and Samaria, whatever term you prefer, and we should not do it again in Gaza. So, he said, there are people who call what we are doing in the West Bank occupation, and it is, he says. Oman's voice is sweet and calm, and the creases near his eyes appear smiling no matter the subject. We've been there for 57 years and still have not annexed it, he says, stroking his long white beard. It's not good. We should at least declare our legitimacy. But at least we are there physically. It's more difficult for us to pull out because of those people living there. That's game theory, he said. We're giving ourselves an incentive to stay there. One of the most important principles of game theory is the principle of incentives. Oman has graciously welcomed us into his space. They start talking a bit about the conversation. And this is what he says. Oman believes that the intense campaign for the kidnapped is essential, but he worries it may inadvertently strengthen Hamas by showing them the extent of public concern. This could lead to Hamas making unacceptable demands, ultimately harming our war efforts. The families are making it clear to Hamas that this is very, very, very important for us, and they're making it clear that it's even more important than it is, and as a result of that, Hamas demands an end to the war. They're still in power in Gaza, which is something we cannot possibly agree to. If you want to buy a home at a reasonable price and you visit the apartment and real estate agent is there and the owner is there, you do not go to the porch and say, "What a beautiful grand view." That's also game theory. You are giving an incentive to the other side to charge more, he says. The families of the kidnapped are doing this. They're shooting themselves in the foot. They're shooting us in the foot. I want the kidnapped returned, but not at the cost of losing the war. Obed admits that the world is against us, but he believes a bigger problem is that we are against ourselves. He said, "We say b'yachad na'netzach, together we will win, but we are not b'yachad." He puts game theory in terms we can understand. A game can involve any number of players, even up to 1 million. But it has to have at least 2, Oman says. Each player influences others to varying degrees while pursuing different, sometimes opposing goals. The theory can be applied in various scenarios, from sports like soccer where teams represent players to geopolitical conflicts like the game between Israel and Hamas. The essence lies in strategizing to maximize personal gains while recognizing that others are doing the same. You want to do the best for yourself, taking into account that the other players are also trying to do the same, doing what is best for themselves and not for you. There are formulas and strategies, and as a general rule, you always want to get the most information on your opponent possible. But the real-world application of game theory can be tricky. People are not necessarily doing what's optimal, he says with a smile. So he said, let's just go down towards where he continues talking about Gaza. He still believes peace is possible. He says, "I'm tired of the fighting. We've been fighting for more than 100 years, and the world has been fighting for thousands of years. War has been the one cost of human history. It is terrible. There is enough room for them and us in this country." He says one of the provisions of the Oslo Agreement was education, that Israel educated its children to get along with Arabs and vice versa. But Israel never insisted on this, and it was a big mistake on our part. In this conflict, both sides promote their goals to the best of their ability. But what are the goals? Our goal is certainly not to destroy the Arabs. Their goal is, but they are not necessarily one entity. Their children are taught to hate us. They are taught to want to drive us out, he concludes. That is what we should change. So it's very interesting that he says that. The challenge, of course, is that there's only so much to which we can, from an outsider perspective, influence someone else's culture. And clearly he's understanding from that's part of the reason why it's better for Israel to be in Gaza, because Israel running that place is much better than other cultures and other peoples. But in my view, the ultimate point is this. If you're dealing with a society, with a people that want your destruction and do not want to change, even after we do gesture and gesture for peace, like leaving Gaza in 2005, and what do? They elect Hamas. They choose terror. They celebrate October 7th. Then I say you've blown it. You've shown that you're not really interested in peace and statehood. You're interested in killing Jews. And therefore, I think Israel should be able to do whatever it needs to do to guarantee peace. There should be absolutely annexation of the land. Even for the people there, I'd rather be an Arab living under Israel than under Hamas. Number 2 is that Jewish people should be living there. This is Jewish land, after all, from every angle, legal, biblical, historical. And number 3, I say if the people there are going to be choosing anti-Semitism and hatred and violence, then Israel has a right to detain or deport. We've tried for so long to say, okay, you want statehood? We offered deal after deal. We left Gaza in 2005. We've offered deal after deal, land swap, land splitting, and they've said no. They've shown that they're not interested in statehood. But I'm saying even if they were, even if they genuinely wanted that, there comes a point where you have to say, you've blown it. Because we've tried again and again to give this to you, and you are not interested in that. You're just choosing war and bloodshed. And I say Israel is utterly entitled to do whatever it is she needs to do. Because going down the same old path of hoping for peace, hoping for reconciliation, hoping that splitting the land will somehow resolve it. As Robert says, been 100 years of conflict. Are we still going to keep doing the same old tired, delusional thinking? I say no. So I welcome what Israel's doing, and it seems to me like Minister Katz, Defense Minister Katz, seems to be on a fairly similar wavelength.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.